Hey, it's Mila. Welcome back to my channel. It's been so long since I've done this intro that you don't understand the joy that it brings me saying that.
Go around, I go around, I go around and I go around and I go around.
So today we're in the car. I feel like car videos are like a very big summer thing that I do. I'm currently in the parking lot of my gym. I didn't work out today. I'm not planning to work out today. Let me just open the back windows to get some air. I swear, if this man pulls up right next to me, no. Okay, so I like doing car videos in the summer because I feel like, I don't know, it's fun. So today I decided to do my May wrap-up in the car because I'm actually on my way to go study for my midterms. Yes, I said midterms because I'm taking summer classes. It's like 32 degrees outside. And I'm like, yeah, I'm about to hit the library to go study fluid mechanics of everything, fluid mechanics. But anyway, if you're new here, my name is Mila. I make everything from college, lifestyle, sorority. I didn't post like that much about the sorority, but I do want to get more into it in the fall. Books, yeah, just all those vibes. So if that sounds fun, definitely hit the subscribe button and stick around because we are doing minimum one, possibly two videos a week for the entirety of summer. Like at least for the month of June, I have everything planned, 2 videos a week, so that's super exciting. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get into the book so I can go study because I don't want to fail my 40% midterm. Yeah, let's get into it. So we started off the month by finishing a book that I started in April, and that is Throttled by Lauren Asher. This was such an anticipated read. Like, I bought it when I first heard of it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna love this. And I loved it. It was so good. The banter was so good. Let me just tell you what I rated the books. Let me get my story graph because I forgot. I came so prepared for this video. I was like, okay, we have the phone for the story graph. I have my reading journal if I need to like catch myself up on notes. I was like ready to go. Yeah, I rated this 4 stars. The banter was so good. I love Noah. I love, like, you met all the characters here and I love everyone. Like, I absolutely love everyone. It's such a good time. It's so pretty. And then like the chapter starter thingies, that was from Maya. Let's find Noah. Where's Noah? And Noah, like, at the cover, it's just so beautiful. It's such a fun series. Honestly, I think it's like such a good summer read, especially if you're traveling like Europe, or even like not even Europe, but just like traveling everywhere. I totally recommend this because they travel a lot for the races and so good. So good. Next, I went to a fantasy series. I read, where's book 3? I read Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising all this month, and I enjoyed the series. Like, honestly, it was kind of like, it wasn't hard getting into, but it was hard in the sense that I feel like, because you know how sometimes in fantasy you have a character kind of like explaining the world to you in a way, you know, here it wasn't like that, so it kind of took a while to get into it. Like, not that I like when the characters like say absolutely everything at the beginning, but it's like, help me get into the context. Over here, it wasn't really like that, but I still really enjoyed Leigh Bardugo's writing. Like, my first book from her was 9,000. I absolutely loved it. And I still saw the same type of writing. Like, obviously over there, it was more like mature and stuff like that. But it was the same like writing style that I loved here. And I definitely do want to read her entire backlist. But yeah, this was like a fun little fantasy series. You have our main character, Alina, who, like, she's an orphan. So she doesn't know who her parents are. And then one day she goes to battle with her friend Mal. She's like a cartographer, so she's not supposed to go into battle, but you know, like something happened with the map, so she has to go. And then they get attacked by these, like, how do I describe it? Like a vulture type oversized monster bird. So she finds out that she's a Grisha, meaning that she has powers. And this is just her saving the world, like every fantasy. It's really fun. It is a little old, but it didn't feel like it was old, you know? So super fun. And now I gotta read 6 of Crows. I do want to film a reading vlog for 6 of Crows. So probably not gonna do it over the summer because I'm filming other reading vlogs during the summer, but that's definitely gonna come sometime in the fall. After that, well, I mean, like in between the books, I read Loath to Love You by Ali Hazelwood. I basically read like Shadow and Bone, I read Under One Roof, then I read Siege and Storm, and like, you know, like that. So I read all 3 feminist novellas this month. For the Shadow and Bone books, I rated all 3 stars. For Stuck With You, I rated 4 stars. Below Zero, I rated 4.5. And Under One Roof, I rated 3.75 stars. Under One Roof was my least favorite book. I don't know what it was. Like, it wasn't bad per se, but I just enjoyed Stuck With You better. And then Below Zero, I absolutely loved Below Zero. Like, if I had to buy these books individually, I would have only bought Below Zero. And it was definitely my favorite book. I felt something on some level. Plus, like, the type of engineer that she is, it's like so much closer to what I am. Because if you didn't know, I am an engineering major. I'm in mechanical, so it's the closest thing to her, who was in aerospace. So it was a good time. It's super fun, like super lighthearted, perfect for the summer, honestly. Like, the only one that's maybe not perfect for the summer is like Below Zero, because that they go like Norway, I think. I mean, anywhere in one of the Scandinavian countries. But super, super fun. Loved it. And I love Ali Hazelwood's writing. I haven't read anything else by her because my friend has been borrowing The Love Hypothesis for like a year. So I'm gonna be like, hey, can I have it back? But I also bought Love on the Brain, so I'm super excited to get to her this summer. The time this comes out, this isn't posted yet, but it's gonna be posted, I think, next week. I did a little reading Taylor Jenkins Reid for a week reading vlog. So I read Daisy Jones and the Six, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and One True Loves. This was my first time ever reading Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I have 2 5-stars. Daisy Jones and the Six and The Five Husbands of Evelyn Hugo I'm sorry, my allergies are like spiking right now. It's so unlike anything that I ever read before. I feel like I'm about to cry because of my allergies. It's so unlike anything that I've ever read before. Like, 'cause this is much more like literary fiction than like romance or fantasy or thriller. It's basically no plot, just vibes, in the sense that you follow someone's life. It's much more biographical, and I never read biographies because I'm not interested in like real people, you know. It's like I'd rather read fantasy than reading about your life, like me personally. But these were very like biographical, and like honestly, if I didn't know ahead of time that Daisy Jones was not a real person, the Six was not a real band, it reads as if it's a real band. Same thing with like Evelyn Hugo. That's why I absolutely love Taylor Jenkins Reid, just for coming up with these 2 concepts. And also in Daisy Jones and the Six, there's songs. She wrote songs. Like, at the end of the book, you have a list of songs. And I'm like, girl, how? Like, oh my god. But yeah, so Daisy Jones and the Six, it's basically an interview style book. And you have someone who's interviewing Daisy Jones, the band The Six, and just people who were in their life, like their manager, producers, stuff like that, to kind of like tell the story from when Daisy Jones, I think when she was like a teenager, and like the Six, the band, like getting created and like getting fame and everything, and how they meet and stuff like that. Like, it just sucks you in, because also how it's written, like, you see it's like the names, and then there's like the thing that people say. And the audiobook of this, it's so good also, because you have different people reading for different characters. Just overall 100% recommend. Like, before reading this, I would have think this would be a good beach read, but honestly, just like on the beach, like this is an amazing book for the beach. 5 stars, absolutely loved it. Next, I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and this was also 5 stars, so good. The same kind of pattern, but over here, so our main character works for this like magazine company, and Evelyn Hugo's people call whoever in the company, and they're like, okay, like, we're ready to give a story, because she never really gave interviews and told her story about her life. But she's like, I'll only talk if it's this specific person. So our main character is that specific person, and she goes to Evelyn Hugo, and Evelyn Hugo just tells her entire story from when she was, I think, 14. When she was 14, you go through all 7 husbands, and I love this book, but it breaks your heart also, because it's like, you see all that she had to do to get where she was, and everything that she had to like suffer through, especially like from where she came from, just being like a woman, like everything that she had to go through in her life. And it's a beautiful story, but it breaks your heart. Like, there was a solid 30 pages at the end. I was just crying. I stopped crying. I started crying again because like something else happened. And it's just so fucking good. Please read it. Some man's is looking for his car. I hope his car is not next to me. Next, I read One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I really like this book, but I only rated it 3.5 stars because I feel like my expectations for this book was like really high, and I read like 2 amazing books from Taylor Jenkins Reid, but they were completely different than this. So I feel like I was kind of like expecting more. So I feel like that's why I'm disappointed, because this isn't bad. I know a lot of people also love this book, and basically what happens here is that you have this girl who's married to this guy, and then he's a type of like journalist, and they call him in to write a story. He has to travel on a helicopter and like something, and then it turns out the helicopter crashes. And this isn't like a spoiler, it's like you already know this. The helicopter crashes and he dies, or at least you think he dies. Also not a spoiler because like it's like part of the premise. And then she gets to know another guy, they're engaged, and then she gets a phone call from her husband, and he's like, yo, by the way, like, hi, I'm alive. And she's like, huh? Like, what? I thought you died. But yeah, like, the premise was so good. And again, I feel like I expected more, but this was an amazing book. Like, my only complaint is that, like, I understand how we couldn't have been written another way, but I feel like it kind of got sped through. So I feel like, I mean, sped through in the sense that she was meeting Jesse and she was meeting Sam, that I feel like I never really got attached to either guy. That's like my personal opinion, but the story wasn't bad. And one thing that I really liked is that, yeah, it was a love triangle, but you really never knew who she was gonna pick. So I feel like you always have your favorite, and you always, like, you kind of know, okay, like, I like this person and she's gonna pick him, or it's like, I like him but I know she's gonna pick the other guy. It's like you liked both of them like equally up to a certain point, because at a certain point one of them just annoyed me and I'm like, my guy, like, just stop. But yeah, besides that part, I liked both of them equally. I don't think I'm gonna do any more car videos because I'm actually dying right now. I don't know if you can see my eyes, but I feel like they're like watering and like burning. But yeah, so this was actually a really good story if you're looking for a love triangle. Just, I feel like I had higher expectations, but I'm still willing to give Taylor Jenkins Reid's like love stories a try. But yeah, 3.5 stars, but the cover is beautiful. Like, it's not a bad story. The writing style is amazing. I just feel like I didn't have time to get attached to the characters, but I still really enjoyed this book. After that, I finished the Off-Campus and Briar Youth series by reading The Dare, and it breaks my heart that the series is over because I love this. I have such an attachment for these characters, for this world, and I'm sorry, I'm just like looking for my rating for this book because I generally forgot if I gave it 4.25 or 4.5. Yeah, 4.25. It's just, it's so sad leaving these characters behind, but it means that I can find another hockey romance series. I know that there's the Kings of Rittenhouse, so you betcha I'm gonna dive right into that. And I know the second book in the Icebreaker series is coming out. I mean, I don't think it's called the Icebreaker series, but anyway, you know what I mean. That's coming out. I don't know if it's like hockey, but I need more hockey college romances because this series was so good. But over here you follow Connor and Taylor, and Taylor, she's not really into hockey and stuff like that. She's part of a sorority, which I really love. Like, I loved how in the Briar Youth series, Elle Kennedy is kind of like integrating sorority type thing. So I'm like, girl, like, if you want to write something about like sororities, like sorority girls in general, like, I'm down. I love seeing Greek life in books. I just love it. And hockey and Greek life, stop. I'm done. No. At a Kappa Chi party, there's this like annoying girl in her sorority, and she's like, oh, like, Dare or Dare, it's a game that the girls play, and she's like, I dare you to, I don't know, do something like with some random guy. And she sees Connor, she picks Connor because I think she recognizes him or something like that, and then they just talk, they get to know each other, and the banter is so good. I love them together. I love them together so much. And like, the funniest part of this is that Taylor's mom is dating Coach Jensen. And the funniest thing is that Brenna, Taylor, and Connor all find out at the same time, and I'm like, I love it. I love it. We got to see like a lot of Brenna again. I love Brenna. I love these characters. We saw Summer, we saw Demi, we saw Hunter. It's breaks my heart. I feel like this series definitely has potential for a reread. But just, if you have not read the Off-Campus or Briar Youth series, please read it. Like, if you need my recommendations, my favorite books are The Deal, The Score, that's from Off-Campus, And from Briar U, the most anticipated one was The Chase, because I love Fitz. I love Fitzy so much. But I feel like my favorite books were The Risk and The Play. I just love everything. Like, honestly, the only one that I didn't really like that much is The Legacy, because I feel like I expected more. And then The Goal, just because that trope I'm not like super into. But 100% recommend. Such a good series. It's so good. It's a little like, I don't know, like, it's just like go in expecting like college hockey romance. Like, it's not gonna be the best written thing, but it's so entertaining, it's so good, and it's so funny. After that, I read a thriller I've had on my shelf for like a hot minute, and then You Are Gone. And I just thought this was gonna be a thriller. This I rated, how much should I rate this? 4.25 stars also. I went in thinking this was like, okay, they're on a boat, the husband goes missing, no, the boyfriend goes missing, and the girl's like freaking out. She's like, what the hell happened? She was framed. Well, they're gonna like try to frame her. And like, yeah, that's what I thought going into this. But then turns out there's this whole like, I'm sorry, I just sneezed. There's this whole like biological aspect behind it, in the sense that the boyfriend was like working on this disease with his team. Things are kind of sketchy and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to give too much away because I didn't know that going in, and I feel like that just made everything so much better for me. The only thing that I kind of feared was because the blurb mentions that our main character suffers with BPD. And reading the book, I was like, okay, I wasn't sure how it was going to be portrayed. But then I read that the author of this book, R.J. Jacobs, is a psychologist. I think psychologist. He's a psychologist, right? Yeah, he's a psychologist. I like that because I feel like her BPD was never portrayed in a negative way. It was portrayed in a very like realistic way. And I actually really enjoyed seeing her through a kind of like a manic episode when she was like, oh, like, I don't take my pill, but it's fine, I can take it later. I haven't slept for like 20 hours, but it's fine, like, I can do it later. And just like seeing that, I feel like it upped everything, because it just made you feel like more stressed for her. And yeah, this really surprises me. Like, I wasn't expecting to like it that much, but I feel like it was definitely that whole like biological disease aspect behind it, which is something that I'm like super interested in. If you give me anything that has the potential of like biological warfare, I eat that shit up. I don't know what it is, but I just find that so fascinating. After that, I bought this little book, Killjoy by Holly Jackson, rated 4 stars. This is a little like novella in the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. This is before the first book, but it can be read like at any point. It's not a spoiler for anything. It's just a little like murder mystery. You see the characters like solving this murder mystery that one of her friends' brothers like creates for them. I loved her reasoning. I love how invested she was, because like girl same, I'd be exactly the same. Her reasoning to see who the killer was absolutely insane. Like, she made so many connections I didn't even think of, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, there was like a plot hole here, and that makes so much sense. Really enjoy this. It's just like a fun, good time. I'm so hungry. My stomach's like growling. It's just super fun, good time, and I definitely recommend. It's like 100 pages. You can read it so fast. Perfect beachy because it flies by. Next, I just finished this last night. I am in shock. This is like my third 5-star read this month, guys. I finally read my new favorite book ever, the Mindfuck series. If you love Criminal Minds, you're gonna love this. I don't know why I put off reading this for so long. Do you see how thick she is? I flew through this. Like, how do I even describe it? So there's this girl who, she was wronged in her past, and she turned out to be a serial killer, but like not in like a bad way. She's like getting revenge. Someone parked right in front of my car, and I'm super scared that he turns around and he looks at me. But yeah, so she was wronged in her past, and then she gets revenge on everyone who wronged her by murdering them in the most brutal way possible. But like, I love it. And then she ends up meeting this guy who, surprise, is a freaking FBI agent who's working her case. And I'm like, oh, what are the odds? No, but like, honestly, from like chapter 1, she meets Logan, like right like that, and then she kills someone. And I'm like, let's go. Let's freaking go. Just, I love them. Like, the romance, it's like, I feel like the romance is kind of like a subplot to her whole like plan. but it doesn't feel like it's a subplot, you know? It's just, oh, it's so good. Like, you see her planning out the murders, you see her carrying out the murders, you see Logan's side, because it's a dual pop, you see Logan's side. That gives such, like, Criminal Minds vibes when you see him talking with his team. And then, like, you see that Logan, like, finds out something, and you're like, oh my god, Lana. But then you go to Lana's pub, and she knew all along. She was like 5 steps ahead of them, and I'm like, you go, girl. I love this book so much. Like, I don't want to say more, because I don't want to give anything away. I did film a reading vlog for this. So just go check that out. It's coming out, I think, 2 weeks from now, the Mindfuck series. It's so good. And can we just talk about the epilogue? Her anniversary gift? I'm like, that's so iconic. That is so Lana. I love. But anyway, that's gonna be all for today because I'm actually dying and I'm starving. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, definitely leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more bookish videos. And once again, I'm gonna be posting twice a week, hopefully minimum one, but probably twice a week, at least for the month of June. Oh, it's 11/11. It's 11/11. All my socials are linked down below. My TikTok, my Instagram, my Goodreads, my Amazon wishlist if you want to see what I'm planning to read in the future. Oh my god, my nose. Yeah, so stay safe, protect your vibe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, guys.